My name is Elizabeth, and for today's special, we have an interesting treat, historical changes as a result of silk moths, also known as Bombyx mori.
And I'm Wesley. And today I will be diving into the historical significance of the cochineal scale insect, formerly known as the Dactylopius coccus.
Join us for today's episode of Bugs Today TV. This is a bug deal. I will be opening by telling you about the silk moth. It is known for being worldly, for greatly impacting the events of history. Silk moths do go through complete metamorphosis from eggs, then to larvae. These larvae may also be known as silkworms. During this time, they have unique eating habits of eating leaves of mulberry trees. They then grow rapidly and produce silk out of their glands, and naturally, this is intended to make their cocoon, similarly to how butterflies make a cocoon. Once they emerge from their cocoon, they're a silk moth, and their purpose is to mate and create the next generation. How fascinating. To summarize it simply, the silkworm spins silk, which has to be found and to be useful in a variety of ways. It is originally began by changing the outcome of history after being discovered in China. It changed the trading game in China, found effects on their culture and economics that helped lead China to great wealth. As word traveled, the rest of the world was after the luxurious product produced by silk moths. Fast forward several years, the high demand for silk then led to the creation of the Silk Road, which became a hub for connecting different paths of the world. How cool! In addition, the transport of silk among people also led the way for accessible trading of other goods among nations. Today, there is frequent trading in countries, which is a vital source of economic strength for many countries. Silk moths not only started something we rely on super heavily, but also have continued to help growth. Today, we can contribute not just our economic wealth to trading that began, but also the advancements it has paved the path for. Technology continues to advance in relation to silk moths daily. Scientists have even recreated the spinning of silks done by moths due to its capabilities. There are so many possibilities with the versatility of silk, and it continuously impacts the course of history.
Those are some great points, Elizabeth. The cochineal scale insect, which is the insect I'll be covering today, is scientifically known as the Dactylopius coccus. Excited that I will be getting to explain its historical significance today. The cochineal is a very, very small insect. So small, in fact, that they're not even half of an inch long. This makes them pretty hard to see with the naked eye. But their impact and significance are much bigger than their physical size. These insects primarily dwell in areas of South America up toward the southwestern part of the United States. The reason is that the cochineal's main dwelling habitat is on cacti, which are found all over these regions. Specifically, they live on cacti from the genus of Opuntia, the insects getting their nutrients to be able to survive through these cacti. They're soft-bodied insects as well, and they have oval-shaped scales, which is where the word scale in cochineal scale comes from. They have mouth parts that are almost resemble beaks, and that is what they use to penetrate the cacti and derive the nutrients from them. These insects do have a parasitic relationship, though, with the cacti that they dwell on, often causing decline and death in cacti if they are fed on for too long. The main selling point for the cochineal scale is their dye producing ability. Female cochineals have what is called carminic acid. This acid produces a plethora of red colored dyes that can be used for dyeing many things, such as wool, cotton, and many other items. How many things around you right now are red? At one point, the advent of mass creating red goods was all started through the cochineal. I think that's one of the most important discoveries throughout human history. The cochineal dye is still around today and actually gaining more popularity than ever. This is due to the fact that the dye is not toxic or carcinogenic, like the artificial dyes of recent. A once long ago discovered dye in the cochineal is still often used today due to the safety and effectiveness of the product. I can't think of many other insects that have had as big of an impact on our daily lives as the cochineal scale, because we have it to thank for the beautiful hues of red that we see every day.
Well, unlike silkworms' natural productions and frequent production, the cochineal scale insect used to make dye could be a reason for question. While it is accurate that they have greatly impacted history, does that come at a cost to degrading their effects? Is the treatment of small creatures ethical? And with the harvesting of their scales to make dye, this could be especially concerning in current day large scale commercial production scenarios. Another concern that might come to mind is the relationship that cochineal scale has with its host plant, cactuses. With how much this insect is being cultivated, is it sustainable for these plants? This could result in a parasitic relationship on the cactus. So, in debating its impact on history, I would not forget the implications as a result of their impact.
Those are good points about the possible unethical nature of using the insect. There simply isn't much of a better alternative right now. As I mentioned earlier, humans have tried to come up with artificial dyes for many centuries, and we're still reverting to using the cochineal dye because the artificial alternative is potentially toxic and carcinogenic. And yes, the insects do have this negative relationship with the cacti. I will concede to you that as well. But the reality is that they will have this negative relationship regardless of if humans use them for dye or not. Concerning the silk moth, yes, it does have great cultural significance with the Silk Road and trade, but the genesis of these trade networks you have mentioned revolve around many other things like spices, goods, and cultures, not just silk. Also, I would have to raise the question about the ethics of gathering this silk from silk moths as well. Is it safe for them? How are these moths being negatively affected by us humans harvesting their silk?
While it is accurate that finding alternatives to the dye from cochineal scale insects can be challenging, I would in response encourage it be sought out even more, especially in the courtesy for efforts being made in insect ethics. With so many products being made with insect-based products, it's a societal duty to pursue cruelty-free options going forward. Perhaps advance in technology could help lead to these ethical friendly options. In addition, I'd suggest reaching out to passionate consumers who could help push this movement and innovation. In response to the ethical production of silk, I would gladly appreciate your concern. Original and cultural production of silk was rather cruel. In response, people have taken action to collect silk with respect to the creature. In recent production of silk, they let the pupa naturally come out of the cocoon before they harvest the silk. This not only lines up with ethical practices, but allows for the continuation of silk moth's contribution to history. This creates a perfect and harmonious balance between ethics and economic growth.
Yeah, I understand that. And although we can discuss how to improve the ethical treatment of these insects, one of the main points in support of cochineal use is that they have been farmed for their dye for so long, yet still have an incredibly large and stable population. It has also been found to be used in many cultural icons dating back to 4,000 plus years ago. This dye was integral in developing our human culture and literature as we know it. And who knows how it could be different today if it wasn't for the dye produced by the cochineal scale. Those are very valid points about the nonviolent collection of silk. And I'm glad to hear that better methods are being created. I think that the silk collection industry could also be improved upon with innovation that levels the playing field of ethically creating silk, thus allowing consumers peace of mind so they don't have to continually worry about whether or not their product was ethically sourced or not.
In conclusion, there are many fair points made on how the silk moth and the cochineal scale have both played a role in history. In my opinion, silk moths, also known as Bombyx mori, have a deep history rooted in meaningful, impactful roles in society. They are also significant for their many roles in history. They have many notable accolades, including the Silk Road, their impact on fabric and textile industry, their economic contributions, and their role in advancements of technology. To this day, scientists are fascinated with the study and the abilities of silk and versatility they have. One of their many notable projects is the recreating of silk due to its capabilities. They have looked into everything about silk down to its genetic makeup. All of their research is with the interest of continuing to advance this industry of innovation. This insect's product is so significant, scientists are literally studying it in hopes of continuing to learn more. It is important to continue these studies as it is so beneficial to our world as history shows us. In addition, it is important to continue to find ways to promote the ethical production of silk, which is an aspect of scientists recreating it. Silk is so special in its ability to inform us about history and enlighten us to prehistoric culture. Being able to understand, preserve, and appreciate the historical impact of silk moths is so vital. Finally, silk moths are a great reminder of how we can benefit sustainability from the insect. Thank you so much.
Cochineal scale insect has been and will continue to be one of the most important insects in human history. Their incredible production of red-colored dye has spurred on early literature, clothing, and many more red-colored items that we use every day. The reason that the cochineal remains so important and fascinating for this purpose is its natural safety compared to the toxic chemicals that have been artificially created. An insect whose impact is so profound and perennial needs to be appreciated more and touted as one of the most significant of our time. Researchers today are even conducting experiments to maximize the carbonic acid production out of the cochineal. Specifically, Soyuma et al., some researchers have discovered new methods of extraction called pressurized liquid extraction and supercritical fluid extraction. According to their research, these new methods have doubled the yield of the dye produced. These new discoveries continue to allow humans to use the natural and safe red dye produced by the cochineal scale today and throughout the future. Thank you so much.